Squarescape is a puzzle game where you collect pluses and minuses to escape from every level. The idea was born from the team of this year's GMTK Game Jam.
Built to scale.
I think the main idea behind our game is very fitting, as the main mechanic is exactly changing your shape to solve puzzles. You can play the game on each, download it for Windows and Mac, and play it on mobile on the Play Store. Join us on Discord to get early access and give any feedback. You can find all the links in the description down below. Enjoy the game! And now, let's dive in on the devlog of Squarescape. The first thing was brainstorming some ideas on paper, and I was having fun just by solving the puzzles on paper. Definitely a good sign that made me commit to this idea. After that, it was time to get it on screen, so I started making some sprites, player, walls, plus, holes, breakable walls. Then I started importing on Unity, and I set up a tilemap to have a rudimental level editor inside Unity. After that, I didn't really like how the sprites looked, so I remade them to have a more minimal feeling, and the holes became spikes. Things were looking better, but nothing still moved, so it was time to implement the first game logic, like basic player movement and also some playtesting. Then I added some levels and implemented also the breakable walls and spikes into the game. The visuals and the game started taking shape, but everything was so silent. Time to make some music. Made a melody, refined it, some harmony and variety, and finally some beat. Don't get too attached to this, as later on we discarded this as it didn't quite catch the feel of the game, but let us know if you liked it, maybe we will use it on future projects. Later on, our musician created a work of art. I present to you Fragment of Solitude by Lollox. Now every aspect of the game was set up, but there was still missing the key feature of the game, the plus. So after a bit of coding, the player now moved even when changing shape. Assurdo. Assurdo. And it works with every shape. Eccolo! Il cazzo! Guarda il cazzo! Elegante. Anyways, now it was time to implement actually changing shape when collecting a plus. And it works. After some bug fixing, I implemented a new feature, the lock, to actually force you to collect all pluses to solve each level. I also added the final mechanic of the game, the minus. Thanks to Joy for the idea. And it worked great! After some bug fixing, I implemented switching levels, as well as more levels, and everything looked fantastic. After some bug fixing, thank you, Lancho, for debugging this masterpiece and for being my friend. It was time for some UI, like a grid to help you better see lines inside the level, and in the meantime our artist started giving us the final sprites for the game. Thank you, Nero Serio. We are still conflicting feelings if the final art for the game was better than the minimal feeling it had at the start. Let us know in the comments which art style you prefer more. Now the game was finally playable with all the new features, so time for more playtesting on a new challenge level, which deserved the implementation of a worthy level dawn scene. After beating a level, there is always the need for new challenges, so we added a level selection UI and a grid highlight. No developers were harmed during the development of UI. Sorry, Joy. And developed a script called Sprite Refresher, which is basically an auto tilemap tool that runs on the update. Essential for updating sprites that change on the grid during playtime, especially the player. I am very proud of that script. Now time was starting to run out. With every system built and working, we started polishing as much as we could, so we revamped the level selection screen. It was also time for some level design. As my main skill is game designing, I wanted to add as much content as possible. I gave myself the goal of making 5 pages, 45 levels, which I did accomplish even with the very limited time available, even though I sacrificed a lot of sleep. After all that, it was time to publish, which was really a nightmare with all the different versions, especially on mobile. Finally, we had some time left to also publish this video. Thanks to Asile, the person I share my life with. It was our first project of these dimensions, with also such a limited time window, but in the end, me and my team are very proud of the end result. I hope you and GMTK will like the game as much as we do. You can play the game on itch, download it for Windows and Mac, and play it on mobile on the Play Store. Join us on Discord to get early access and give any feedback. You can find all the links in the description down below. Thank you for playing the game.